All right, today we're going to dive into one of the most powerful tools out there in the AI world, Google's Vertex AI. Now, the whole idea behind it is to be the one single platform you need to take any machine learning project from just a concept all the way to a finished real-world product. So this really gets to the heart of the matter, doesn't it? You've got this brilliant idea for an AI model, but what's next? How do you actually build it, train it, and get it into the hands of your users? That journey is almost never a simple straight line. For most teams, the answer has always been to kind of piece everything together. You end up using one service for your data prep, a totally different one for model training, and then you guessed it, another one for deployment and monitoring. It's like trying to build a puzzle with pieces from 10 different boxes. It's messy and inefficient. And this is exactly the problem Vertex AI was built to solve. It's Google's answer to all that fragmentation. The core idea is actually pretty simple but incredibly powerful. Bring the entire machine learning process under one roof, with one single interface for the whole shebang. So here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to start with what it means to be a unified platform. Then we'll check out its easy mode and pro mode for building models. After that, we'll see how to build an AI assembly line, and we'll wrap up with some of the serious power tools that handle all the data. Okay, let's kick things off with that main idea, the unified AI platform. What does bringing everything together actually look like in the real world? Well, at its core, it means you get one interface and one API to rule them all. It plugs right into Google's heavy hitters for data like BigQuery. But, and this is super important, it's not a walled garden. It plays nice with all the open source tools you already love, like TensorFlow and PyTorch, and it gives you a direct line to Google's amazing pre-trained models. And here's what that unified experience actually looks like. This is the main dashboard. Think of it as your mission control. Everything from your datasets and development workbenches to your pipelines and deployment endpoints, it's all right here in one spot. Now, let's talk about how you can use this platform in what I like to call easy mode. This is all about letting teams build incredibly powerful models without needing a PhD in machine learning. This is done through something called AutoML. It's basically a suite of tools that uses Google's own cutting-edge research to automate the really hard parts of building a model. All you have to do is bring your data, and AutoML helps figure out the best model for the job. It does the heavy lifting for you. And in practice, it's just as simple as it sounds. You basically just point the system to your data, tell it what you want to do, say analyze some text, and then you literally just click the AutoML training option. The system takes it from there. Okay, but what if you do need that deep granular control? Well, for that, Vertex AI has Pro Mode, which is built from the ground up for data scientists who want to architect everything themselves. It really just boils down to a trade-off. On one hand, you've got AutoML, which is all about speed and simplicity. On the other, you have custom training, which gives you absolute flexibility and control over every single detail, right down to the specific algorithm you want to use. So where does all this custom work actually happen? Well, the home base for any data scientist working on the platform is going to be the Vertex AI Workbench. Workbench is essentially a supercharged notebook-based environment. And you get choices here too. You can go with managed notebooks, where Google handles all the tricky setup for you, or you can use user-managed notebooks if you need to fine-tune your environment down to the very last library.
So, you've built your model. That's awesome. But now what? How do you make that whole process repeatable and reliable so you don't have to do it by hand every single time? That brings us to the AI assembly line, Vertex AI pipelines.
Just think of a pipeline as your orchestration engine. It takes your entire workflow from grabbing the data to deploying the model and turns it into a series of automated, repeatable steps. You're basically turning a manual process into a reliable, serverless AI factory. And a typical workflow looks something like this. First, the pipeline automatically pulls in fresh data from somewhere like BigQuery. Then it runs your training code, checks how well the new model performed, and if it's good to go, it automatically pushes it to a live endpoint, ready to start making predictions. Okay, last but definitely not least, let's get into the power tools. Because building one model is one thing, but if you want to do this at scale, you need tools that make the whole system efficient and, more importantly, trustworthy. And that all starts with the data. We all know the saying, the foundation of any great model is great data. But inside big organizations, the little building blocks of data, the features, can get really messy and inconsistent. And that is exactly what the Vertex AI feature store is designed to fix. Think of it as a central library for all of your ML features. It's a single place to store, share, and serve those data building blocks. What that means is teams aren't constantly reinventing the wheel, and every model gets built on consistent, reliable, and trusted data. So, the feature store makes sure your model is built on a solid foundation. But building trust goes even deeper. That's where a tool like Explainable AI becomes a total game changer. It actually helps you understand why your model is making the predictions it's making, which is absolutely critical for finding bias and really trusting your system. And that really brings us full circle. The whole point of Vertex AI, the ultimate goal is to take that entire complex, messy machine learning process and bring it all together under one single roof, making everything smoother, from that very first piece of data to serving live predictions to the world. And that leaves us with just one final thought. A platform like this gives you the tools, the structure, and the power of a complete end-to-end AI factory. So the only real question left is, what problem would you solve with it?